Hey everyone, looks like I got disconnected earlier. Hopefully you guys can absolutely hear me and see me. I'm now on Wi-Fi, so this should work a lot better. Okay, so right now what I want to talk about is test prep, because we all know that test prep is everyone's favorite topic, just kidding. But I've got 3 big mistakes when it comes to test prep because, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you the horrible things that I see. Let's talk about it real quick, because most people are really concerned with the scores, and it is something to be concerned with. You know, if you look at globally, for example, in countries like India, where, you know, students will take upwards of a year to study for certain entrance exams to get into top schools. Yet somehow in the U.S., we think that, you know, oh, we should just know what's on the test. Most people don't realize that, yes, it does take prep to understand how these tests work. So there's a lot of different options on how to handle that, but what I want to do is talk about the 3 biggest mistakes. So number 1, the biggest mistake I see year after year after year is waiting way too late to take the test. And the reason why I've been hearing this more and more from what I've heard is that a lot of times the high school counselors may recommend doing it later junior year and then also leaving one for senior year. Now, the big mistake for that is you don't know what's going to happen senior year. So to make the assumption that you should leave even 1 or 2 test dates over there, never a good idea. I was talking to a student recently, I think it was out of Virginia. Yes, out of Virginia. And she said to me, yeah, you know, I took the test one more time and I prepped and everything, thinking I could really do well. And then during my test, 2 students got kicked out and another student vomited on my backpack. Now, let me tell you something. I would have never seen that coming, right? So the last thing you want to do is to kind of set your kid up for failure without realizing it, because you don't know all the outside factors of what absolutely can happen when you're taking a test. See, if your kid was taking it by themselves in a room with one proctor, sure, you can control all the outside factors, but that's not how most of these tests are taken. They're taken in a room full of other students that can totally distract your kid. So number 1, the biggest mistakes that I ever see when it comes to parents is waiting till last minute. So you're probably wondering, okay, Neha, when is the best time to start prep? Well, let me tell you something. We've got some 7th graders that are doing the Duke Tip program, right? So they start early on, they do well. Some of them make 28s, 30, 32s already on the test. They start early on. The other thing is the PSAT for 10th graders is a great way to get started as well. And then 11th grade as well, the PSAT counts for national merit. So many times parents don't realize this is a wonderful opportunity to get literally the best bang for your buck. I mean, 2 for 1, where you can get the PSAT prep and the SAT prep in one go. So if I had it my way, I would have all juniors, no matter what, and sophomores, if you were precocious enough, starting in 10th grade, I would have all of the students that have to prep for the PSAT to start the prep early on, right about now, to be honest, for that October test. And then second, I would have them really focus on that PSAT test and then sign up for a November or December SAT. Because here, now you get prepped not just for the PSAT, but you're getting for the SAT as well, and it's amazing. 2 for 1 deal right there. So I would say that prepping early is the name of the game for anything, right? The second biggest mistake that I see over and over in the test prep side of things is a lot of parents are really confused about which test to take. And I've always been a little confused by this, and I think it's because in their generation, for parents, you guys had certain schools that said, oh, you must take the SAT or the ACT for certain schools. Guys, that is no longer the case. Schools take either the SAT or the ACT. So you do not need to be having your kid take both tests. And the second point, colleges do not look at your kid's choice of test and judge them on it. I hear a lot of parents that will say, oh, I heard UPenn loves the ACT versus the SAT. No, guys, they don't care which test you take. You should take the test that best fits your kid. So that brings me to the other point here about this, is that the SAT and the ACT are completely different tests. And so many times parents will book us, I'm not kidding, listen to this, this is kind of crazy. They'll book a 40-hour package for SAT, and then they'll book a 40-hour package for the ACT. By the way, I don't know any teenager that wants to do 80 hours of test prep. The last time I checked, if they had to get quizzed on the life of Kylie Jenner or like Kardashians, then sure, they would absolutely love to do that for 80 hours. But not studying for the SAT and ACT, that is for sure. So I will tell you that. Alright guys, sorry about that. Driving in the middle of nowhere can cause Wi-Fi problems. Okay, hopefully this is working. If not, sorry guys, I'm trying my best. So let me talk about the solution about this whole SAT versus ACT thing, because I think it's like super frustrating for a lot of people. See, number one of the best ways to change this, I don't know which one, is to literally have your kid take an SAT at home, like on a Saturday 9 to 12, like typical time they would take it, like in the morning on a Saturday, which is when they would mostly take it in a normal setting. And then the following weekend, have them take the ACT. Make them take it blind. Blind, guys. I know you're like, don't do that, Neha. You want them to take it blind because you need to get a sense without prep. And if they've already done it, it's fine, guys. But you want them, regardless of if they've done prep or not, to test out for both. Now, I will tell you, I remember back in the day, yes, back in the day, I took the SAT and I was like, ooh, I love this test. Yeah, nerds love tests like this, right? It's like football for us. But I took the ACT and I was grossed out. Like, I kind of wanted to vomit during that test. It had a science section, and yes, I was in AP Chem, Biology, AP Physics. I was that kid too. But I was definitely not geared for that technical kind of stuff. So I will tell you that in general, ACT was not it for me. And it's okay if your child gears towards one or the other. That's why they have two different types of tests. Now, I will say that kids that tend to be a little bit more math and sciencey tend to like the ACT more. And kids that are more communicative, more verbal, those types tend to like the SAT more. It's just kind of the truth of what we've seen over the last 12 years. But I'm not telling you that those boxes fit every child. I'm just telling you that specifically from what I have seen, that's kind of how these two tests work. Now, I'm not saying that you should pick it just based on that. I'm saying you better do your homework and have your kid take both tests on a Saturday at home, or find somewhere where you can do a proctored exam, or we even proctor them for you through video wherever you're located. We can do that for you too, so you guys know exactly what, sections and time. We do all of that for you if you want. So you can call me below, numbers below. But I wanted you to know that one of the biggest mistakes is definitely having the kid do both. Last year we had a senior who did, I swear to God, you're going to be floored by this, over 120 hours of test prep with us. I even told the parents, I was like, I don't want to take this much money from you for test prep. Like, this is painful for me to even do to the student. And they were dead set on it. So I'm just telling you, you don't want to overkill the test, right? So for example, if your kid is getting ready for a football game and they practice for football, there's a certain amount of time that is great to practice. And then there's something called overkill, okay? Where you do too much, you can get injured, you can have burnout, you can have exhaustion, you put too much pressure, and honestly, you psych yourself out. So this brings me to the third point. What is the right amount of time for prep for a test? Now, this ranges from student to student, but on average from what we've seen, it's between roughly 30 to 50 hours for test prep. Typically, parents will book our 30 to 40 hour package if they really want to be competitive in the SAT or ACT. Biggest mistake? Dealing with a parent right now who's like, oh, we'll just do 10 hours of prep. I'm like, wow, 10 hours for 5 different sections. So basically, you're giving me 2 hours per section, which, by the way, each section is like, just by itself, a section is like 45 minutes. So you want me to spend pretty much 2 hours, like 120 minutes, trying to teach your kid 45-minute sections with over 35 questions in each one. Okay, sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys have to understand, unless it's a touch-up, you don't do 10 hours of prep. Just like, for example, if your kid's taking the AP exam for any class, it's not like you're like, oh, hey, you know what? You're going to do AP Biology? Great. So you don't have to take it in school. You could just, study for 10 hours and take it in May. No one does that. So if you're going to get your kid to prep for the AP for 2 semesters, you better believe it. You better get your kid to prep for the SAT and ACT. That's why I have some of the best coaches on my team with test prep. We only have a handful of coaches because I'm so particular, and most of them have scored in the top 2% of these tests. So imagine these coaches on my team, some of them have scored the perfect scores on the ACT at a 36 and an SAT 1600. And, I hear from parents all the time, and they'll be like, Neha, it's totally fine. The school's covering it. Our math teacher is going to go over it. I'm like, awesome. Did the math teacher at your school get an 800? Just wondering. Because let me tell you something. If you want to be the best, you got to learn from the best. And I'm not saying that teachers aren't awesome. Look, I get poached and asked to be a teacher at my local high school constantly. And I'm like, guys, there's no way I could be a teacher. I like one kid at a time, not 20 at a time. But I'm here to tell you that there's certain things that certain people are good at. For example, you don't go to your dentist to get your oil changed in your car. You don't go to a algebra teacher to ask them to teach you SAT math. Just like your algebra teacher doesn't teach AP Calc. So this whole thought of, it's the school's job. I was talking to a mom. It's the school's job to get us all college prep. I'm like, actually, no. The high school's job, by the way, it's to teach your kid high school. I hate to break it to you. I wish there was a way to get an all-in-one solution. And I wish you could even say that private schools do that, but they don't, by the way. They don't take care of that. So I know that all of you at some point are going to want to invest in test prep. So I want you to know we've got different packages. At Elite Private Tutors, we have a handful of coaches that are already booked up, about at 90%. We were booked solidly for the August 26th test, the new test that came out by College Board, because they knew that having one more test date would help all the seniors, because number one, like I said earlier, people have been making this mistake by the thousands to wait till senior year to take the test. Like I said earlier, sophomore year, junior year, these are the years to start prepping for the exam. Senior year, no go. No, do not wait for that. And so I want to tell you, we've got some incredible back to school specials right now, because we've just realized that so many parents, you know what they want to do? They just want to know their kid is in good hands, that someone is there who has the curriculum that can customize it based on their child, and really comes in with the book's curriculum, the skills, the knowledge, the elite edge test prep formula that will just get this handled for them in one go. I had a mom recently tell me, Neha, we worked with another company. They were upwards of $4.99 per hour for test prep, and we didn't even see a blip in their grade on the test change. And I said, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I can't believe, that you invested so much. And they said, yeah, that's why we're so nervous about doing this again. And I said, well, how many hours did you choose to work with this company? They're like, oh, we only did 5-6 hours. Now, guys, I wish we could do miracles. It's like, wouldn't it be so cool if you could have a baby in an hour? I mean, that would be phenomenal, right? But the SAT and ACT is a little bit like labor for love. You've got to really prep. It takes time. It takes months before. And then you give birth to a beautiful score. But that takes time, and that takes consistency, and that takes effort, and it takes diligence. But let me tell you what it also takes. You want to do good on the scores? You want to do well on that test? It takes a coach. And I hate to break it to you for all my public school parents, but 99% of private school kids are getting coached for the test. All right? So if you think that little Johnny got a 1480 by himself, woke up one day in his cute little polo and jeans and cute shoes, showed up at the test and just pooped out a 1480, guys, you got to be kidding me. It's a big complete lie. Now, I have rarely ever seen a student, unless they're very good at test taking, which is honestly 1 out of 300 based on our numbers, actually get a perfect test score or be able to do it without really prepping for it. Never have I seen it. I mean, like I said, maybe 1 out of 300-ish. Usually we're not calling them or talking to them, right? Those are the kids that are doing... Oh, guys, sorry about that. Like I said, I'm driving in the middle of nowhere, but I had to do this quick video for you guys. So let me just get into it down and dirty. If you guys are wanting to really help perfect your kid's score and understand that, oh, my kid's not a good test taker is just not an excuse, because my God, if that was, then why doesn't Harvard and all those top schools accept a 1200? Well, they don't, because being not a good test taker would mean, well, you can't handle Harvard. So let's face it, it's really about making sure your kid is prepped and ready and understands how it all works. So we've got some incredible back to school specials. I have now put my phone number below, call me maybe, to get your kid prepped. Now, we only have 5 slots left for test prep. So all those lucky parents that are smart enough to call us, you're the ones that are going to get it. Second thing I get an objection from all of you. Well, what if you're just located in one place? Can you please tutor my kid in Timbuktu? Yes. Here's my question. If one of your family members was suffering from a disease that was like life-threatening, would you just go to your local podunk doctor? No. You'd invest in something somewhere else. And let me tell you something. There's no difference when a coach works with your kid through video versus in person. I know because we've been doing this over the last few years, and we tested it to see, like, will video not be effective? And let's face it, on average, most kids are spending 3 to 4 hours on a screen anyways. They don't even know the difference between a person on screen or in front of their face. So if you really want to drive the result, you want to hire the best, you want to get it done fast, and you want to make sure you get enough hours in. So if this is your first time doing test prep, I will tell you that you want to book closer to 30 to 40 hours of test prep. That gives us, if you divide it out into 5 sections, if you did the 40-hour package, which 99% of parents do, the 40-hour package breaks it down to 8 hours per section, which really, if you think about it, each section has about 4 to 5 different concepts. So you're really giving us ample time, making sure we assign the right practice tests, analyze the data, making sure that everything's done right, assigning the homework, holding your kid accountable, making it fun and enjoyable, because we all know everything that's fun and enjoyable makes it so much better, right? So you want to make sure that you have the right coach in place, and I'm here to tell you, I had a client who works with me personally and was like, kind of like pushed back on me. It was like, no, we found someone local. And then they took the test and they bombed it. And I said, okay, sounds great. Now are you ready? So I'm just here to tell you, this is not the place where you try to save money. Test prep is not where you want to save money, okay? Save money in other ways, like your kid's prom dress or their car. Test prep is what's going to determine which college they get into. And second is hire the best of the best. Like I said, I go over 500 resumes before I pick one person on my team. And even then, it's really hard. I reject kids from Harvard every day. I'm not kidding. Because I'm here to tell you that I'm really picky. Because if it were my kid, I want to make sure they get the best of the best. So we are already booked up at about 95% capacity for test prep. But I want to make sure for all of those parents that are, reeling into the back to school season, getting into it, that are really ready to go and ready to kind of make a decision on this, I want you to call us, because I'm here to tell you that test prep can be the biggest investment you make, but it's the smartest investment you'll ever make. For students that qualify for PSAT National Merit, you can get incredible amounts of scholarships just based on that. Some schools automatically admit your kid because of their score. Some schools will give you merit-based scholarships in tens of thousands of dollars just based on that score as well. So you've got to really think about this from the long term. Not just, they need a good score on the SAT, whatever. It's really about teaching them the understandings of how a test works and making sure that they really get how these tests are. And the best part about all of it is you get a mentor that really can help motivate your child, make them feel confident about the test, psychologically make sure that they feel comfortable, because these are all the other soft effects of when you take a test. And when you have someone by your side that's saying, hey, you look great, you got this, you can do this, we've done the best prep, it really helps your kid. And as a parent, I know you think you can do that just by yourself, but there is something to be said about a third party that's really emphasizing, the strengths of your child that makes a huge difference. So I just wanted to shoot this quick video for you guys because I think so many times we question, should we invest in test prep? Does the score really matter? Which test should we take? How do we do this process? This is my first time doing it. There's so many questions we get, and I want you to know we have some incredible account managers on my team that can absolutely help you to find the right solution for you. And I want to end with one last thing, guys, because it's so important. One of the biggest differences between us and other companies is that so many people will say, I'll just take a course. And I'll tell you, my parents did that. They sent me to a course 3 hours per day, 2 to 3 times a week, after school, on my weekends, and I was like, oh my God, you want me to focus for another 3 to 6 hours? This is so painful. Like, I would rather just focus on something else, because half the questions that are being asked in this class, I already know the answers to. And it's because my parents didn't know any better. I was a second sibling and they still did this to me. So it's a major reason why at Elite Private Tutors, I don't make classes out of test prep. I don't believe in it. I don't think it's effective of your kid's time. And I think time is the most precious thing. It's more precious than money. So if your kid doesn't already have enough time, they're already overscheduled, wouldn't you rather have a coach come in there, customize a program that is not cookie cutter, that's specifically based on what your kids need, based on the diagnostic that we do, and make sure we focus on all of those areas of development so that you can get this done efficiently and quickly? I think so. So hope you're having an amazing, amazing day. I love each and every one of you guys, and I hope this is super helpful. I've got to get off the line. I'm about to walk into a big rainy storm here. So call me at 713-401-2867 so that I can make your life easier today. Bye.